throughout the Roman Empire would take the feet of Paul and the other missionaries and take this message round the world. So when the fullness of the time was come, when God knew exactly when it should be, God sent forth his Son. He wasn't just born, was he? He was sent forth into the world. Made of a woman, that the virgin birth. Man had nothing to do with it. Made under the law. He was sent to Israel. But he's not just for Israel, he was for all nations. All people of the earth will be blessed through Israel, God had told Abraham. And of course in Haggai it talks about how Jesus would be the desire of nations. The desire, we sing that in one of the Christmas carols as well. Come, desire of nations, come. Fix in us thy humble home. But he did that so that he could redeem us and so that we could receive the adoption of sons. So that's the setting. Jesus Christ has come. But in this setting, there is this terrible hypocrite Herod. I call him a hypocrite because he says at one point, "Tell me where the child is so I may go and worship him also." But as soon as he knows where the child is to be born, and he wants to know how old the child was, when is he supposed to appear? And they said, they told him where and when, and he said to kill all the babies 2 years old and younger. He was a great hypocrite. He was pretending to want to worship God, but he was hostile towards Christ. That's the first response. Hostility of Herod. And Herod, by the way, came in as an illegitimate king. He was the illegitimate king. 60 years before Christ was born, the Roman general Pompey had captured Jerusalem and all the rest of Palestine, and they installed local rulers. And eventually Herod became the ruler of the Jews. He was sort of a puppet king under the Romans, but they said, okay, he's half Jewish, he'll do. And they called him King of the Jews. In fact, we know more about Herod than we do about any other person in history from this time. We know more about him than any of the Caesars, including Caesar Augustus or Julius Caesar or any other secular person, because Josephus wrote 2 whole books on the life of Herod the Great. We know he was a paranoid tyrant. He ended up killing 3 of his sons, suspecting them of wanting to take over the throne too soon. And he put to death also his favorite wife. Of all of his 10 wives, he killed her. And he killed all of his mothers-in-law. He drowned his high priest. He killed several uncles and a couple of his cousins. And they also speak about Herod's plot to kill a stadium full of Jewish leaders. He even, of course, killed, as we know, all the male babies and toddlers in a certain village. He was a very paranoid tyrant. Caesar Augustus once wrote he would rather be Herod's pet pig than his son, because he would be safer. But he's the illegitimate worldly king. That's the opposite of the Lord Jesus. Instead of using his power to serve people, he's using people to serve him and to protect his power. Instead of serving people, he's using people. That's what worldly leadership looks like. That's what worldly power looks like. But the Lord Jesus, he comes lowly, lying in a manger. This world makes a ladder to greatness, but in God's economy, the ladder to greatness is the exact opposite of the world's. It is to humble yourself. If you are abased, you'll be exalted.